Hey, sports fans, welcome back to the Fool Show. Oh, sports is a humbling theater. And I can just, as the seconds wound down in the fourth quarter, all I was thinking about was those people on Twitter who were running their mouth, saying Lombardi was going to get stuffed, that there would be absolutely no chance Michigan State would win, Michigan would win by 35. The local sports scene was saying it on their little picks this weekend over in the Grand Rapids area. Oh, Michigan State has no chance. Oh, I just was worried. I was worried because I know what happens in games, rivalry games. I know the games where you just throw out the records, and I tell you what, man. Michigan State came, and they played well, and they brought it. They played to win. Give them all the credit. It was crazy. I mean, Michigan couldn't get off the field. Anytime Michigan State was facing a third, second and long, Rocky Lombardi, all the scorn Michigan fans gave him, Rocky Lombardi just threw daggers, just lollipop, nice high fade daggers to White. And man, he had like 196 yards and a touchdown. Every time they threw the ball to him, he seemed to catch it. Michigan couldn't cover him. Gray got burned so much. Then they benched him, and I can't remember number 16 came in. At least 16 was somewhat there, but he still couldn't make any plays. Props to Michigan State. And as a Michigan fan, this is a horrible loss on a few levels. Number one, Michigan was favored by 24 points. Michigan was full of itself, if you will, riding on cloud nine after the win versus Minnesota on the road, opening night, and now you fall flat. Just terrible loss that way, to have a loss at home like that. Number two reason why this is such a terrible loss. Mel Tucker gets his first win. It's against Michigan, a ranked Michigan. It's not even an upset at home. It's on the road. And, that's just terrible. I mean, people were talking, again, I shouldn't listen to the media, but they were talking about if Michigan gets a win here, a convincing win, that might really, impact the recruiting, have players really come to Michigan versus Michigan State. It's like Michigan really blew that. If that was the case, they really blew that by just having such a terrible game. Credit to Michigan State. Lombardi, 17 of 32, I think it was, 323 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Outstanding game. Their rushing attack, it wasn't outstanding, but it was effective. And you could see at the end of the game, they started to wear down Michigan. And we got to give major props or major criticism. I'm going to go props. The Michigan State O-line, I don't think Lombardi hit the ground once. He played great. Anytime there was pressure, he would kind of throw the ball away. Fine. There was no sacks. No sacks on him. I mean, there was like all this chatter. The Michigan D-line's going to feast today. Ha ha ha. Not a sack on Rocky Lombardi. It was crazy. Their O-line for Michigan State played epically good. I mean, you can't take that away from them. They played outstanding. Michigan, Urban Meyer, I've watched the halftime a little bit. Give credit to Urban Meyer. He said, now there's film on the Michigan's offense. And now you see teams are playing press coverage, taking away those short passes, and all of a sudden you see there's not much space. Michigan didn't complete one deep ball. I mean, maybe their longest pass was like 20-some yards, but those were more like, little corner routes or something like that. Not able to hit a deep ball at all. That really hurts with having Nico Collins gone, who could go up there and catch a 50-50 ball. Again, Michigan offense, critical drops on third downs, on early downs, dropping the ball. And when you're average, I don't know how it ended up, but in the third quarter, it was 3rd and 9 was Michigan's average down to go. 9 yards to go on third down. You're not going to win a game doing that. Joe Milton had to throw 51 times. 51 times for his 300 yards passing. That's not going to get it done. I do have to question Josh Gaddis's rushing attack. It seemed when Michigan would run to the edges, instead of up the middle, along the edges, they would get yards. But they kept trying to run up the edges. Up the middle instead of the edges. And I know the play worked in theory, but I totally question taking out Milton in the second quarter. They did Haskins 2 Wildcat plays in a row. Yes, I know we had the touchdown throw there. Great play by Simmons, linebacker for Michigan State. He played outstanding today. Give him the game ball for sure. But why are you taking out your quarterback who led you all the way downfield? Why are you taking him out there for 2 plays? It wasn't like it was 3rd and 1. It was 3rd and 4 or 5. Why are you taking him out? Let Milton throw the ball. He can run the ball. In fact, he was Michigan's leading runner again. Obviously, a lot of those yards came on the last Michigan possession where he was running just, Michigan was playing total zone coverage, and he was running and get some first downs. Just disappointing. Just a little side note. Way to blow it, Fox coverage, for not letting us know that Michigan had 3 timeouts instead of 2 timeouts, as we all thought. So when Michigan State's running the ball instead of taking a knee, and the announcers are like, what is up with this? It would have been great to know that Michigan actually still had 3 timeouts. So way to drop the ball, Michigan State. But I do have to give Joe Klatt credit. He called out the Big Ten 2 different ways. Michigan was down by 3 points, I think it was, at the point. Maybe it was, I think it was 3 points. And they did a deep ball to Sanistril. I probably say his name wrong. And there was holding twice and not called. And Klatt called out. It's like, the way this game's been called all game, that should be a penalty. And it wasn't. And then on the last touchdown drive by Michigan State, that's pretty much sealed the game. That 3rd down catch by number 5, I don't remember his name, should have been reviewed. It wasn't. He might have caught it. You couldn't see anything to overturn it, at least the one angle we saw. Big Ten officials, no review. And he called out them again. I'm not saying the refs blew the game for us. I'm just saying I'm glad that Joe Klatt called out the Big Ten for being terrible with their reffing. Calling it one way in the first 3 quarters and not calling it in the 4th quarter. So that's a really good point by Joe Klatt to, point out how the Big Ten used to be such a good conference at reffing. Not anymore. I'm not saying that cost Michigan the win. No. I'm just saying I'm glad to hear national media pointing out how the Big Ten's terrible at reffing. So where does Michigan go from here? You don't have anyone to take off the top. Unless you got to get some fades, you got to get some slants down the edge, something to open up the defense. Michigan State just kept going in. And you know what? They give Michigan State the credit. They deserve this win. But what does Michigan do going forward? Because there's still 6 games left on the season. I don't know what's going to happen this year with COVID and everything. You just play each week. And now this proves that you have no idea what's going to happen each week. One week, they look great, outstanding. The next week, they get just, honestly, beaten up. Michigan State took it to them, and Michigan had no good answer. So, to see how it goes. I don't know. That's just my rant. You're not going to win many games, and having that pit of angst in your stomach all game, I hadn't had that in a long time because Michigan had been off for so long. It was kind of fun, but bad in a way because, the pressure just kept mounting and mounting. Michigan State started taking over. Those 4th quarter drives by Michigan State, that's what you wanted Michigan to do. Michigan didn't have it. Michigan State wouldn't let them have it. Props to the Spartans, man. What can you do? Just props to you for the win. Hey, just my ramblings, my thoughts on the game. Michigan needs to run the ball better. And Gaddis had us run up the middle too much. Go to the outsides, have more players in space, do some more swing plays. It worked with A.J. Henning on a nice 9-yard run. It just didn't do enough. Michigan State did more, and they deserved the win. That's all it is. Hey, just my foolish thoughts. If you have something you want to share, vent your frustrations, gloat, hey, I understand, man. It's sports. Enjoy it. Let me know in the comments below. I'll try to respond as I can. Next week is another game, Indiana. We'll see how it goes. As always, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you enjoy this in any way, shape, or form, even if, you're a Sparty fan or whatever. I appreciate the subscriptions. As always, I'll talk to you next time, man. Go Blue!